Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone listening. This is the webinar series for 2024 Solution Webinar Series. We welcome you for the webinar series. Just to begin with, let me push you through the housekeeping video first.
Hello and good day everyone. Welcome to the 2024 Solutions webinar series. Before we start, there are some housekeeping information that I would like to share with everyone. Kindly do refresh the page if you can't hear the audio or if the slides are not moving. Widgets such as the slide area can be maximized and minimized according to your preferences of the layout. You are encouraged to send in questions during the webinar through the Q&A box. If there's insufficient time, speaker will follow up on those unanswered questions via email right after the session. We would also appreciate if you could give this webinar a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. Presentation slides can be downloaded from the resource list along with other relevant articles as well. There are also links to useful resources such as the Automotive Events Calendar site where we list out all the upcoming webinar sessions. On-demand videos can also be accessed via this site as well. And for updated information pertaining mobility, please do refer to the Mobility News and Assets Community site where contents are constantly updated to provide you all with the latest information. Also, do join our Automotive Insights and Analysis LinkedIn group where we facilitate the sharing of insights, data, and knowledge across market segments that will impact the automotive industry.
So let me begin this. This is the webinar on the unveiling the latest trends in autonomous driving connectivity and over-the-air updates. Today is 25th April 2024. I am Gaurav Vangal, Associate Director for the Light Vehicle Production Forecast Indian Subcontinent. Today I am playing the role of moderator. And today with us we have Ujjwal Jagyasi. He is our consulting analyst from the Automotive Insights. He will take care through the latest trends in autonomous driving to you and the connectivity and over the air updates. Before I begin, I hand it over to the Ujjwal. Let me give you some brief introduction of the S&P Global Mobility. Specifically for S&P Global, we have 5 divisions, and on the distinct markets together they deliver unmatched breadth and depth. So one is the S&P Global Market Intelligence, the S&P Global Ratings, S&P third is the S&P Global Mobility, from where we both analysts comes. The fourth is the S&P Global Commodity Insights, and the fifth is the S&P Dow Jones Indices. As an S&P Global Mobility, we provide a global coverage with the experts on the ground in the key market. You will find our experts. We are having over 900 experts coming from each domains. We are sitting in the 16 countries. These are the industry analysts across the S&P Global, and you will find us everywhere near you, from the New York to the Bangkok to the Melbourne. We will find the local analysts coming and sharing the domain expertise for S&P Global and for our premium clients. We have the unmasked credentials. We have 100% of the top automakers, those who subscribe to our data. We have 100% of the top automotive suppliers, those who have subscribed our data. We have 900 plus automotive experts, as I mentioned you earlier. We have approximately 1,000 data sets. We are being referred as in 90% of US DMVs, and the top insurers use our WIN solutions. So we have unmasked credential throughout the value chain. So with this, I will hand it over to the Ujjwal Jagyasi, who is going to talk about for the next 50 minutes on the latest trends in the automotive driving and the connectivity and OTA updates. Hi Ujjwal, can you please begin your presentation?
Sure. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Good morning, good afternoon, and warm welcomes everyone. My name is Ujjwal, and I have been part of S&P Global Consulting from past 2 years. I've worked with top-tier OEMs and the suppliers in the domains of autonomous driving, OTA updates, electrification trends, and today we will be discussing about the latest trends related to these topics. So before we dive into the topics, I would just want you to give a background of why exactly is this topic important. Next slide, please. Hello?
Ujjwal, are you there? I can see you now. I think
Yeah.
this is the slide you were.
All right.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry for the disturbance, but yeah. So before we dive into the topics, let me give you a background of the study. So with today's era, we are seeing software-defined vehicles as the core technological improvement over the past couple of years. And with the future of autonomous being software-defined, there are three key pillars: the autonomous driving, the connected car tech features, the connectivity of the vehicle, and over-the-air updates. With these three features standing as the key pillars of an automotive and providing the complete software-defined vehicle touch to it. The autonomous driving brings in the vehicle safety and enhancements in the driving experience. The vehicle connectivity brings in the futuristic touch, and over-the-air updates, joining these two key pillars with constant improvements over the time. Next up, we have the agenda for today's webinar. We will be discussing in deep dives about the autonomous driving. We will be discussing the current states, the upcoming level 4 and 5 autonomous driving. We'll touch up a bit on the connected car tech features, and we'll be closing it off with deep dives on our study with over-the-air updates. Now, before we start the autonomous driving, there's a poll question from my end to all of the folks attending here. When do you think the level 3 autonomous vehicle become mainstream throughout the industry? And we see as the polls are being updated, it's a mixed feeling with within 2 years, pessimistic about 4 to 6 years, and over 6 years. All right, now let's get started with our study. So the first slide we have is on the current state of autonomous driving. The research for ADAS technology started way back in the early 2010s, but it took a decade to become mainstream, with Tesla launching their vehicles with level 2 capabilities, followed by the global OEMs. It didn't took much time for the global OEMs to follow the path of Tesla, and they brought in their versions of the level 2 and level 2 plus ADAS technologies into the market. With this year, 2023, we saw some major announcements in 23 and 24 from brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi planning their level 3 equipped ADAS vehicles under prototyping stage, under testing stage, and some of them even in the early deployment stages. BMW 7 Series and Mercedes EQS are some of the early vehicles with level 3 ADAS capabilities that we might see into the market in the coming few months. On the top, we see the coverage on the level 4 autonomous driving technology that's majorly coming in from the startups of the world, supported by tech giants and the OEMs. We see brands like Cruise, Waymo from the Google's parent company Alphabet. We see China's tech giants Baidu and Zoox, supported by Amazon with their versions of robo-taxis. All these startups have gotten some levels of approvals from the governments and the authorities to get their tests runs and ready, and they are on small scale deployment for now. We also see some of the major OEMs jumping from level 2 to level 2 plus with this year, and Tesla has already announced that they will be directly jumping from level 2 plus to level 4 robotaxi. That could come as early as early 2025. Now moving on, we will study a bit more deeper on the current level 2 and the level 2 plus technologies. So we are seeing the big leap from level 2 to level 3. Now what exactly is coming new with these with these ADAS technologies improving over time? We see with level 3 driving technologies, hands-free driving capabilities will be more often seen than ever before. They will also be available in restricted areas, but this will give us a good start for the level 4 and level 5 technologies. We will also see some real-time simulations and improvements on self-driving capabilities around the intersections, highways, traffic signals, and more. Now, here we have a case study on Tesla, how they have improved from the level 2 to 2 plus over the past couple of years. On the left-hand side, we have Tesla with version 10 of their ADAS capabilities, where we saw them struggling over intersections with real-time troubles if some heavy trucks pass by, and really difficult for Teslas to tackle around on these critical situations. But now with a period of time, they have evolved and learned human behaviors and have coped up with these critical scenarios. Now we see them with better U-turn capabilities. This latest version of the version 12 update for Tesla has brought some really good updates to the level 2 plus technologies. And from here now onwards, the level 2 technologies have been at their peak. To improve further, we need to jump onto the level 3 technologies that we see from major brands coming into this year. Moving on, we have the level 4 and level 5 ADAS capable vehicles and the future of autonomous driving. So the main focus on these vehicles are the robotaxis that we see. That's coming in from two different segments of the automotive industry. A few of the startups backed by tech giants like Alphabet and Amazon. A few of the startups heavily funded and backed by the OEMs themselves, and how different their approach is, we will see here. So Waymo and Zoox are the two startups that are currently working on the level 4 and 5 robotaxis. Both of them have been approved to have tests on the roads of the US cities, a selected few, but yes, most of these startups have been approved by the authorities to get their tests running. So Waymo's and Zook's approach is to focus sole on the robotaxi and bring those to commercialization. Whereas OEMs-backed startups like Cruise and Pony AI, we see them providing more than just the robotaxi. They are also into robo trucks, that's long-haul autonomous driving trucks from end-to-end connectivity. They also have ADAS technology and software support for their vehicles. On the timeline, we haven't really heard about the exact time frame on when they are coming to commercialization, but we have seen them expanding in multiple cities throughout these past few years. Now, we have seen robotaxis come into picture way long, but the commercialization part of it took a longer time than expected. So to improve with that, we have seen industry-wide partnerships come into picture. We see three different categories: the OEMs, OES, and the startups that come into picture and collaborate together to bring these technologies into the market. We have seen heavy investments made from companies like Mercedes and Toyota, partnerships between brands like VW, Carriot, and Xpeng from China for zonal control architecture. We have seen brands like GM acquiring startups like Cruise to fast-track their efforts in ADAS technologies. We have seen joint venture between Hyundai and Aptiv's to even fast-track their ADAS capabilities into the market. With more and more announcements, it's becoming clear that the step forward in autonomy is through collaborative efforts. Summing up the autonomous driving technology section of this webinar with key challenges that are being faced up by these companies throughout the world. The first things first is the legislation. It plays a key role into bringing these technologies in a safe and controlled way into the global markets. With legislation being different from region to region and in some cases from states to states, it's really difficult to get things going for these tech giants as well. The next major challenge is the infrastructure. Most of these current technologies work on visions and the camera-based systems that take pictures of the road signals, the pathways, the driving or the traffic signals to tackle the autonomous driving capabilities. Now, these have to be standardized and improved over time for autonomous driving vehicles to come into complete picture throughout the global regions. The third thing that we see as a challenge is the technology itself. With current level 2 and 2 plus technology peaking at its height, we need a new base for our upcoming level 4 and level 5 technology. And with level 3 advancements, we can see that happening. Some of the key highlights will be Gen AI, system redundancy, machine learning, high fidelity simulations that could be brought into the technologies to even advance further with ADAS capabilities. Summing up section with a poll. What are your thoughts on social challenges with level 4 and 5 autonomous vehicle? Optimistic, pessimistic, or a bit neutral? Okay, we see close to 50% of the audience being pessimistic about the level 4 and 5 autonomous vehicle. Certainly so. Moving ahead, we have connected features, connected car technologies, and headline analysis on a selected few topics. So the next key pillar is the connected car technology itself. It has been evolving with over time and focusing more and more towards the driver-centric features. As technologies advance, we see interconnectivity between these technology as the key framework. We have seen head units, HMIs of the sorts. The autonomous driving that we talked about is coming into picture. The heavy use of telematics to implement more and more fleets and data throughout the connected car vehicles. We see car-centric features, V2X, which brings whole lots of capabilities with vehicle to grids and cloud contents and sorts. On top of this, we have over-the-air updates. That's like the key foundation that improves all these technologies with time and constantly push new and new updates for them to be better with time. The next slide, we cover a few headlines from our past year. We have seen Microsoft Mobility Architecture at CES. We saw some partnerships coming into picture from JLR and Tata Communications on redefining the connectivity foundations. We have seen new modems coming in from Qualcomm, the 5G technology into the automotives. Some of the honorable mentions would be Bosch's EE architecture that's coming into picture, the Linux-based software architecture as well. Intel, with their open architecture approach, are trying to conquer the software-defined vehicles as well. So in general, we have seen many announcements coming in from last years with regards to software architecture. So with the industry moving towards the software-defined vehicle, a standard standard architecture would have to come into play, and the automotive industry would have to standardize a key software architecture so that more and more connected car features can be brought into play. The next section, we have over-the-air updates. So how exactly is the software update process taking place? We will talk about the update package. So before even the update package is deployed, the software process is very critical and complex from the supplier's end. We see them flashing down the softwares on each and every ECUs of a vehicle, and then the update packages are being deployed. These packages are being received by the OEM servers, and then a database check is done on each and every vehicle number to see which vehicle is at what update, and this update is being pushed through testing and validation, and a final update log is being placed to keep track of all these updates. Before diving deeper into the topics, I have a poll question for you all. Which of the following OEMs do you think is doing absolute best when it comes to the over-the-air updates? All right, we see 80% of the votes coming in for Tesla, and for today's study we have also selected Tesla as our key focus on over-the-air updates. So from Tesla's perspective, how exactly the over-the-air updates take place, we will see here. So during the year 2022, we saw Tesla coming up with 12 major updates and several other minor bug fixes and minor updates. Tesla pushes their updates via multiple systems. They push their notifications through infotainments, their apps. For the update requirements, the vehicle has to be connected with a stable Wi-Fi connection. There are also features of updating these vehicles overnight, or the users can schedule the updates. While talking about these updates, they have been categorized into a few sets of parameters. We see updates on ADAS capabilities. We see user interface improvements. We also see some functionality or feature updates, and bug fixes and security updates are also key parts of the software update process. The next slide, we have some of the highlights from the Tesla's software update process. We see them improving on the user interface. We see them adding new features, languages. Sometimes we also see Tesla adding new features like heated seats or sorts. They have constantly improving their full self-driving capabilities as well with these updates. On the next slide, we track Tesla's software update process from past 1 year, and we saw that they have pushed over 13 major updates and over 120 minor updates throughout 1 year. With all these updates packed as one family, under one family we see several other minor updates, and these updates are being pushed into several phases. Not each of the vehicle gets all these 120 updates, but through their phased deployment, they have selectively picked vehicles through which they process their updates. The next slide, we cover what exactly are in those updates. How exactly is Tesla improving with software update process? So specifically covering the 2023.7 and the 2023.26, we have seen Tesla improving their FSD capabilities that improves their overall ADAS performance. We have seen them adding features or functionality updates like windshield wiper controls, customized scroll wheels and stuff. We have also seen them improving with time on bug fixes and minor improvements. Summing up the over-the-air update section, we see that over-the-air updates plays an key important role in part of a vehicle's journey. They have been helping out the vehicles on improving with time on several different factors and categories. The ADAS functionality update, user interface, bug fixes are four key categories that these over-the-air updates help us out with. This sums up to end of our section with key takeaways. So we talked about autonomous driving, we talked about connectivity and over-the-air update. We saw autonomous driving at its pivotal role currently with level 3 autonomous vehicles paving path for the new level 4 and 5 autonomous vehicles. We saw connectivity, standardization of the architecture is a big need of the industry, and more companies would have to collaborate and bring in standardized architecture for vehicles to be software defined. Over-the-air updates are playing key important part of connecting these two key pillars, autonomous driving and connectivity, and acting as a bridge and performing consistent updates so that these technologies are on par and provide best quality of life. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. That was all from my end for the webinar, and we will be taking on to some Q&As.
Thank you, Ujjwal, for the presentation. I request everyone, if you have any question related to the webinar, please feel free to ask your question. I think there's a section in the webinar portal that you can ask your question. Meanwhile, we have a couple of questions, but yes, it would be great if you can ask more questions to us. Let me start, Ujjwal, asking you the question first. The question number first, which is coming, is what are the challenges with the OTA updates?
Thank you, Gaurav. An interesting question. So with over-the-air updates, we see brands like VW, BMWs, and Mercedes who are using various sets of technologies and components from various sets of suppliers, finding a bit challenging to cooperate all these over-the-air updates with different sets of ECUs being pushed out with different sets of updates. So the complexity with different parts and the lack of control over the overall architecture is something that we see in the industry that's being challenging for time. We have seen Tesla and Rivians conquering these with having control over all their architecture and the components, and they have been pushing their updates in a family pack bundle so that each of these components get updates at the same time.
Okay, and the next question is coming is what are the major improvements that we see from ADAS level 2 to 3?
The major improvements that we see are with the driver on restricted. When it comes to the technological perspective, the new level 3 systems will be redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And this will set up a new base for the level 4.
Cracking. Can you please re-answer this? Your voice was cracking in between.
Yeah. So the level 3 and level 4, the level 3 ADAS technology is basically an improvement on lots of capabilities and features. On technological part, we see them improving on the redundant systems and real-time simulations that was lacking with the level 2 ADAS vehicles.
Okay. Then now the next question comes around how do you project the future of standardized architecture? May they depend on the application domain, or how will they related to the tool supplier landscape evolve?
So basically the standardization of software architecture will be coming in from two different perspectives. So there will be zonal control architecture, which will give you control over all the all the key components of the vehicle, and there has to be a key software defined architecture that has to be standardized by suppliers or by OEMs, and that would bring in more and more control on the vehicles.
Okay. And I hope we are able to answer this question. If not, please feel free to write us back. We will reply back on the email. The next question is, the frequency of updates with Tesla is very high. How is the frequency with the other OEMs? I think we're talking about OTA here. And any reason for Tesla on why they have a very high frequency?
So the frequency of the updates are very high, but not all the vehicles get all these 120 updates. So what happens is Tesla pushes their updates on phase basis. So there will be several sets of updates will be going to a selected few vehicles, and then there will be other sets of updates that will be going to other few sets of vehicles. But all these updates will be belonging to a same set of family. So the family code and the base sets of features would be the same. It's just that the minor fixes and improvements would be different varying from vehicle to vehicle. Apart from this, we are seeing many other OEMs performing over-the-air updates, specifically talking Rivian, Mercedes-Benz. They are some of the key OEMs that have been performing a lot of updates. Rivian especially, even they have a similar strategy to Tesla and are performing in phases.
Okay. The next question comes out from the passenger safety point of view. Is this the technology with ADAS and OTA well matured? This is a question number one from the one of the audience, please. And the second question from the same audience. Let me. Okay, you answer first question, then we'll come to the second question. Yeah, please go ahead.
So with current sets of technologies, we are seeing them peaking towards the level 2 and 2 plus. We don't see them peaking towards the 3 or the 4 for passenger vehicles. Coming from passenger safety point of view, OEMs are always advising the users to be interactive with the vehicle and always be alert while using all these ADAS features. While coming to the robo-taxis level 4 and level 5s, we see them being restricted with cities, locations, and all these vehicles are constantly being monitored by their headquarters, and there is someone who is taking care of all these safety features to make sure that the passenger safeties are a must. Technologies, I wouldn't say that they are well matured with ADAS, and there is still a bit long way for them to play their sole role in bringing ADAS into the picture.
Okay. Your voice cracking. Can you switch off your camera, Ujjwal, maybe we can have.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Gaurav.
Ujjwal, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Did you answer the second question, or you were waiting for me to come back?
So I see the second question as, what do you think the future of vehicle recall
Future
looks
of
like
vehicle
with
recall looks like with the advent of
OTA fixes?
OTA fixes.
Yeah. I believe with more and more vehicles being capable of over-the-air updates, the recall
Mm-hmm.
system would reduce, and
Mm-hmm.
over-the-air capabilities would bring in new updates to critical components in a vehicle, so that it doesn't has to be replaced or being recalled, and has to be taken care by the OEM itself. So OTA would play a key role in improving this recall fix.
Okay. And I think the next question is I think this is the last one. What is the trend of customer benefits created by connected cars? I don't know. This question
From
looks
customer's perspective, I'm not really sure about this. Yeah, I would skip on to this one.
okay. Uh, that's all for now. If you need any clarification of any of question, please feel free to write us. We will on the Ask Mobility. Let me read through this. Um, yeah, you can email mobility@spglobal.com if you need any details on this. Feel free to reach out to us. Then for the next upcoming webinar, the topic will be the North American Focus Powertrain Outlook, and it will be on 9th May 2024. And the speakers will be Eric Ederson and Dara Panch from the Powertrain Forecasting team. So that's all from our side. Feel free to rate us in the feedback engagement tools. Thank you very much listening. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.